Hey guys, it's Drea. I have an exciting video for you today. This is what to buy at the Sephora sale and what to buy instead. So I know every time a Sephora sale comes along, there's going to be 1.5 million videos like this, which is just like all recommendations and buy. And this isn't really different except for the fact that I want to recommend to you some things to buy from Sephora in this sale and some things to buy that aren't from Sephora that are probably going to save you money overall. What I was really thinking about when I heard the news about this sale, well, I think it's great that they're doing a sale in the middle of the year instead of just spring and just fall. Now they're doing a summer one finally. I think it's really good. It's really good timing for those of you going back to school. Maybe you want some new makeup or hair care, whatever. So I think it's really great. But the second thing I was thinking was like, there's a lot of stuff that I want to spend my money on right now, and not a lot of it is makeup. So for those of you that get caught up in the hype of these types of sales, I just want to give you some encouragement that you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to buy a single thing at this sale just because it's 20% off. Another 20% off will come along eventually. You know, when I first heard about this sale, I added like 12 things to my cart. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta buy all this stuff. And then I sat back and I was like, you know what? There's actual other things I want to spend my money on. Like, I'm having a big party coming up in my house. I'd like to like spend money on that. My son might be coming to visit for a few days. I'd like to spend money on things to do with him. My parents are coming for a week and I have a week off of work and I'd like to do outings and that kind of stuff. So don't get caught up in the hype just because. But that being said, it is fun to shop for makeup. Maybe you have the budget to do it, and if you do, great, here are some recommendations. I want to recommend to you some things you can only get at Sephora, so it would be really good to take advantage of during the sale. And then I have some drugstore things I want to offer up, because even when you think about 20% off at Sephora, something at the drugstore that could be just as good and will still save you way more money than that 20% off a high-end item will. Let's start out with the actual Sephora stuff, and we'll save the what to buy instead stuff for the end. So first thing that I've been absolutely obsessed with since I got it, I have not been able to put it away, I've not been able to use another product in its place, is this Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. This is what I have been using to set my under eye every single day. When did I get this? 2 months ago or so. Like, I cannot stop using this. I think it gives a really beautiful blurring effect, especially to those of us that have fine lines under the eyes, that we struggle with like having a smooth under eye because maybe it can get a little creepy at times. It has a little kind of like stopper on this side of the packaging. When you actually tip it over like this and then you open it up again, you get this kind of like perfect little amount in the middle. And honestly, that is enough for me if I wanted to do my entire face. Usually I only do my under eyes with this because I don't really feel like I need it all over my face. I use other products instead that are a little bit cheaper, but under the eyes, that amount of product will probably last me for 4 to 5 applications. I only need a little bit. You don't need a lot. I never bake with this product. I only ever set my eyes. And honestly, that's really nice because I was baking heavily for years with powder under my eye, and yeah, it was kind of bulletproof, but I feel like my under eye was starting to look a little bit just dry overall. And this one, I don't really know what's in it, except that I feel like my eyes stay hydrated longer with this. So if you struggle with dry under eyes, kind of like parched skin there, I think that this is a really good product. For those of you that have oily skin and you want a really good mattifying primer, this is the one that I've been using a lot. It's actually in a project, which is why it's like cut up, because I am almost done this. But this is the Too Faced Primed and Peachy primer. So yeah, I actually have it cut open so you can see what the actual product looks like. There's hardly any left in there. This is the actual mini though, which it's always good to shop for minis on top of the 20%, I feel like, because then you get to try something and maybe you don't have to invest in the full product. But it does come with a pump as well. I think the full size and the mini both come with a pump. And I really like this. I think overall it's a good mattifier. It doesn't keep me like oil free all day long, but I have like the oiliest skin in the world. But what I really like about this is upon first application, it really does cool your skin, and that's in the name. It's a cooling matte skin perfecting primer infused with peach and sweet fig cream. and I feel like it really does have this nice cooling effect on the skin. I don't know if that serves to actually shrink pores or anything like that, but I do feel like it fills in my pores pretty well. It's a decent pore filling primer on top of being mattifying as well, so I really like this. All right, another product, you can probably get this directly off their website, I would imagine, but this is Sephora only, I believe. This is the Melt Impulsive palette. So I got this palette a little while ago. I've used it quite a bit off and on this month. I really, really like the formula of this. So I have this palette. I also have the Smoke Sessions palette from Melt. I feel like both of them have really, really like amazing quality formulas. This one in particular, I love the mattes in here. They are super, super pigmented, but they are so easy to blend. They don't become choppy. They're not over pigmented where you can't blend them out or anything like that. I love this side of this palette. Like if this was a palette just on its own, I would have bought that for sure, because this is just such a gorgeous fall palette. Like going into fall, next month already is gonna be fall. This is such a pretty color scheme. And then all of this side is all shimmers, which is not my favorite idea in the world because they're all cool tone shimmers, whereas these are all pretty much warm mattes. So the mattes don't really, I think, go with this side all that well. So that's something to definitely take into consideration, that these are all shimmers on this side, but I do think that these will be really nice in the winter time. So it's kind of a really nice like fall to winter transition palette. There is that entire warm tone side of the palette, and this is me dipping my finger in and swatching one time. Like look at the colors. So pretty. This shiny red is really what originally sold me on this palette. There's only two shimmers in the warm side, which is this red and then this kind of like very, very deep taupe. And there is the entire cool tone shimmer side of this palette. I'm not like a huge cool tone person, but I do think that there are quite a few colors in here that are really unique and pretty. This one in particular is like a duochrome shifting. It's definitely got this kind of yellow orangey thing going on, which is really cool. The next thing that I want to recommend from Sephora is the Touch in Soul, the Metallist single eyeshadows. They're actually called the Sparkling Foiled Pigments, and they really are like pigments, and they're really sparkling. So I have three here. This one is called Sun Aurora. I have Golden Tangerine, and I have Hollow Mulberry. So there they are. This one is Sun Aurora, Golden Tangerine, and Hollow Mulberry. You can see just how like sparkling and gorgeous they are. This is like such a very tiny little product that I've swatched on my hand. They go such a long way. This one is this gorgeous yellow orange shifting. This one is a blue purple shifting. And then Golden Tangerine is very much more for those people who maybe don't want to do something so out there on their eyes like a duochrome. This is just a beautiful peach that's just very metallized. So I love these. They apply so beautifully with the finger. You don't need to use a brush, just use your finger. They stay all day. There's very minimal fallout. I do feel like sometimes you can get fallout from these if you over apply it, and I've learned that lesson a few times where I definitely put way too much on, and then halfway through the day I was like, ah, it's on my nose, nobody told me. So you gotta be careful with that, but I do wholeheartedly recommend these. I think they are so beautiful. I want to recommend to you one of my favorite foundations. I love a lot of drugstore foundations, but my favorite foundations all come from high-end brands, and this one is definitely one I haven't talked about in a long time, and I think this is a good time because it's a good one. This is the Lancome Skin Feels Good Hydrating Skin Tint. Mine is in the shade O2C Blonde. This is in like plastic packaging, but it has a pump on it. I've obviously used a lot of it. This is just such a beautiful natural looking skin foundation. I'm not wearing it today because for me, if I'm gonna be outdoors or if I'm gonna be wearing this at work for 14 hours, I'm too oily personally to wear it for that long. I reserve this one for like if I'm just filming a video or if I'm going out at night. I love wearing this one because it has such a natural yet glowy perfected skin look to it, and it's not like, it is pretty full coverage, I would say, but your skin doesn't look like a mask, like you put on a full coverage foundation. Like a lot of typical full coverage foundations really cover everything and they make you very flat and there's not a lot of dimension to them. I feel like because this one is so glowy that it really does look like natural skin and it really still keeps a lot of natural dimension to it. So this is a total favorite, although if you have very oily skin, like I said, you can't wear it all day long. Another face product that I love, 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 love is the Josie Maran Vibrancy Argan Oil Full Coverage Concealer. Again, I have the dry under eyes, and because this one is made with argan oil, it's definitely hydrating. The only place on my face that I want something hydrating is in my concealer because my under eyes are definitely dry, whereas the rest of my face is super oily. So this one is so good. It is full coverage, but it blends out to a beautiful natural looking finish and it looks so nice all throughout the day because it keeps that hydration under the eye. Here's a product that has gotten a lot of hype recently and I think it's pretty well deserved. I think this is a good one. This is the Neon Orange Obsessions from Huda Beauty. I don't have all three. This is the only one I have. I did have the green, swatched it, returned it immediately because I hated the quality of it. I kind of swatched them on my eyes and I was not impressed. So I returned the green, but I've spent a lot of time using this one. I've used this one many, many, many times over the last 6 weeks, and I love the mattes in here. I do think that the shimmers are still a little bit subpar. So I've swatched them on my hand here. You can see all of the colors. The mattes are so vibrant. Again, one finger swatch. So vibrant. The yellow shimmer is very pigmented and vibrant, but the other two shimmers are definitely a little lackluster. They do require a lot of building up, and I would say over a tacky base like a glitter glue product for sure. But overall, I really love this palette. I love that it's super bright, it's super fun, it's very summer. I don't know personally how much I will use it in the fall, so keep that in mind if you're purchasing it too. Like, how often do you wear bright looks in the fall and into the winter? If that's not you, then maybe save this for next year. And then the last thing from Sephora that I wanted to recommend was this brush. This brush I recommended years and years ago, and I really haven't talked about it in a long time. This is the Sephora Pro Airbrush Concealer number 57 brush. So what I use this for is two things. 90% of the time I'm using this as a color correcting brush for any color correcting fluid. Like, I usually use the Urban Decay one now for under my eyes on my dark circles. So if you have like really dark circles and you use a color corrector, this is a really good one because it really nicely fits under here. It buffs in, especially like in the hollow of my eye, really well. And it just kind of buffs that color correcting product into the skin, and then you can still put concealer on top of it without it being like super like weird or gummy, or it just layers really nicely. So this is called an airbrush concealer brush, and I really do feel like it has that kind of airbrush look because it really blends things out really well. I sometimes use this for actual concealer. It depends on the product though. Most of the time I'm using a sponge under my eyes for concealer, not a brush, but I have used this from time to time. Typically when I'm using like concealer only and I'm not putting foundation on, which happens every once in a while, I'll just do concealer and I'll kind of like feather it out so that it blends into my skin so that it kind of still looks seamless. I'll use this brush. Let's get into my recommendations for stuff to buy that is not from Sephora. You're probably gonna get a really great product here and still save even more money than you would over the Sephora price minus 20% off. So one of my favorite mascaras has become the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara. This one I would say is a dupe for Too Faced Better Than Sex. It definitely has the same similar type brush. It's got that hourglass brush on it. This one to me lasts just as long. There was a one-off when I bought this originally. I felt like it dried up really quickly and it didn't last as long as Too Faced. But I have gone through a couple of these now since then and they lasted, you know, in the full 3 months. You really shouldn't use mascara past 3 months because of bacteria and you don't want an eye infection. So anyway, when you have to repurchase mascara so often, every 3 months, I don't really love to spend $30+ on a mascara from high end. So I love that this one is just drugstore. It does give me very voluminous lashes. On camera, almost all the time you're gonna see me with fake lashes on just because mascara doesn't translate well through the camera. But in real life, when I go to work, I never ever wear fake lashes, but I still want voluminous lashes. So I almost always use this now. I feel like it gives me very plumped up volume, and it holds curl all day. It's very black, so this is a really, really good one. You may have been wondering what is on my eyes. This is a brand that I feel like has made a huge splash, just came out of nowhere. It's Kaleidos. So I have the Kaleidos Futurism 1 Sci-Fi Green palette on my eyes, but I also own the Futurism 3 Astro Pink as well. I feel like these, like the quality of these is just outstanding. I don't know where they came from, but I love them. So the packaging on these is really, really nice. Kind of reminds me of Pat McGrath in that it kind of like folds over and is, these ones are magnetized. It's kind of like opens like a book. It does have a mirror in there. And then this is what the Sci-Fi Green palette looks like. These colors are all super duper uber pigmented, and I have almost all of these shades. The only one I don't have on my eyes today is this one, but everything else you see on my eyes right now. And it's such a beautiful color story, again, for fall. Like, I see myself wearing this a ton in the fall. This is the Astro Pink palette here, and this one is super pretty. This color right here, which is called Light Year, is stunning. It's so gorgeous. I remember wearing this to work one day and I looked at my face like after 10 hours and I couldn't believe how shiny and gorgeous it was. So here's the Astro Pink palette swatch. There's that shade Light Year that I was talking about. So this burgundy and these two shades here are the mattes, and then you have some sparkle in the black, definitely some beautiful sparkle in that blue and that shiny shade there. Here is the Sci-Fi Green. So in this one, you only have 2 shimmer shades and then 4 mattes. I do feel like the 2 greens are very similar to each other. Like, there's just maybe 1 shade off tonally between the 2 of them. So they probably could have done something different there. But I just think that Kaleidos is like a really interesting company. Love the packaging, love how these perform. I know they just released their own neon palette, which to me looks very similar to the Huda one. And then there's also a new like blue and orange palette they came out with. But I personally really, really love this green one. I know a lot of us like to stock up during 20% off events on things that are like basics that we use a lot. I know brow products usually fall into that category for me. I do love high-end brow products. There are a few drugstore products that I have found that I like, but nothing as much as high-end in terms of like brow pencils and brow pomades. I love Benefit. I love Anastasia. One thing though that I think you can get at the drugstore for so cheap that high-end has never done better is fiber brow gel. And this is the Essence Make Me Brow. This thing is like $3.99 from the drugstore. It is this little tiny brush, and it's got like a little bit of color to it, a little bit of fibers to it. So I actually forgot to put it on today. So you can just like comb it through your brows and you get a little bit of like, I get a little bit of highlight, kind of like a little bit of dimension, because it's a little bit of a, how many times did I just say a little bit? It's a little lighter of a color than my actual brows in terms of this shade. What shade is this one? This one is 01 Blondie Brows, but there is like a medium and a dark as well. This is basically a Benefit Gimme Brow dupe, and even if you were to buy Gimme Brow plus the 20% off, it wouldn't come close in terms of cost to this. And to me, the way those two products work is identical. I've gone through a couple Gimme Brows over the years. I love it. It's a great product, but this is exactly the same, and it's $3.99. Another kind of basic product that I think, save your money, buy it from the drugstore instead, is this tacky base from BH Cosmetics. So I, for years and years and years, used Too Faced glitter glue, and it's a great product. It makes shadows pop, it makes glitter stick. Like, there really wasn't anything like it until I randomly decided one time I was making a BH order to add this to my cart. This is the Base Booster from BH Cosmetics. It's a glitter and shadow glue. This stuff is no joke. This is so sticky. So sticky. And it keeps glitter locked down. There's not going to be any glitter fallout when you use this. And I think I probably paid like $3 or so, because I think it's normally like $5 or $6, and then they always have sales. So I wholeheartedly recommend this over a high-end eyeshadow primer. Now, I wouldn't use this like as my everyday eyeshadow primer because it's so sticky, but it's one of those things that you want to have in your arsenal for the times that you want to have a glitter eye and you don't want it to go anywhere. This is where it's at, and it's so cheap. Okay, if you're new here, you don't know this about me, you're gonna find out soon. If you aren't new here, you know this about me. I preach this all the time. I do not buy high-end eyelashes. I love eyelashes. You guys know I almost never come on camera without them. I think they're beautiful. They add so much volume to your eye and they just finish off eye look so well. But I only buy drugstore eyelashes because the drugstore does it so well. And why would I spend $30 for a pair of eyelashes when I can get them for 10 or even 8 sometimes on sale at the drugstore? So I really love Ardell, but really Kiss lashes have become my favorite darling this year. So I have the Lash Couture Faux Minx in Gala and Midnight. So this is Midnight. These ones have been used. Now, keep in mind that I will use a pair of these probably 12 times or so before they're falling apart, before I need to get rid of them. So they last forever. Here is Gala. These are the ones that I've been wearing during this whole video. I have a few pairs of them. This is a brand new pair right there. They're so voluminous and so fluffy. And then these ones I just started wearing recently. I have a couple pairs of these as well, and I absolutely love them. These are from the Naked Drama collection, and these ones are in the style chiffon. They are a little bit more natural looking, but they're still super wispy, and they definitely have a lot of volume to them as well. So of course I recommended the Josie Maran Argan concealer, but there is a drugstore concealer that I think does just as good of a job, and it does the same thing for me. And this is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer. This one is, again, very full coverage. It has such a nice paddle. I don't think I mentioned about the Josie Maran one, but it does have a flat paddle as well. And this one has a flat paddle too. I just find for concealer, as opposed to a doe foot applicator, a flat paddle applicator just lets you kind of apply that in a nicer way before you blend it out. But anyway, this is very full coverage and again, very hydrating. It doesn't say that anywhere on here. I think that they are remiss to not have it on here because I think it's a definite plus and a selling feature for this for sure. But it keeps my under eyes hydrated all day long as well. I really love this one, and you can get it at the drugstore. The next thing I want to recommend that is super affordable and is so gorgeous, you would never know that they only cost like $5 a piece, the Colourpop Pigments. So they have the Zodiac pigments, which these 4 are from the Kathleen Lights Zodiac collection. And then they came out with just like a regular line of pigments as well. I have never been a pigment person. I just decided to kind of give these a shot. The Zodiac thing was what originally attracted me. I feel like the Zodiac has just become such a trend this year. So I definitely was attracted to it for that. But when I got these and I started using them and playing with them, I was really shocked at how really they make an eye look go from like nice to like incredible. This one is probably my favorite. This one is called the Ram. It is this gorgeous like pinky orange, and it has this yellowy orange shifting sparkle to it. The way it sparkles on the eyes is just incredibly beautiful. This one is the Archer, which is the same kind of thing but purple and blue, so definitely kind of a purple blue shift with like sparkle in it. This one surprised me a lot because I don't normally like blue eyeshadow, but this one is stunning, especially if you pair it with teals or you pair it with a darker blue. This one is the Crab, and it is definitely kind of like a baby lavendery blue, but it has greenish sparkle to it. They all have this stunning sparkle that catches the light so beautifully. I'll try to find at least picture swatches so you can see. This is my most recent edition that I bought. It's the Fish. I actually haven't tried this one yet. I just haven't got around to it, but looking at it, it is green with kind of like silvery white sparkle to it. Last thing I want to talk about is a lip product, and I should have been wearing one of these during the whole video, but I totally biffed that. I was wearing a Becca one, and the Becca, the Ultimate Love lipsticks that I was wearing, I don't totally recommend them. I just don't think that they are worth the price. They're nice, but there's nothing that screams like $30 lipstick to me, so I didn't really want to recommend that one. Okay, these are from BH. These are the Cashmere Cream Liquid Lipsticks. I could recommend so many things from BH. I absolutely adore their eyeshadow as well, but this video would be so long, and I just wanted to talk about a few recent favorites that I think are really worth the money. So these Cashmere creams are such a nice formula. They're like this they don't dry down totally. They're not like a matte liquid lipstick. They definitely have moisture to them. They have kind of a satin finish. They keep your lips slightly hydrated, not super, but slightly, and they just feel super comfortable. But the colors are so pretty. So I have these two shades here. The one that I just put on is the shade Yes, and this one is the shade Perf, and I hate the names. I think they are so cringe and stupid. They're like basically Instagram names, but whatever. The color and the formula, I think, is what's super nice about these. The packaging is so weirdly 80s. I don't know, but you know what? The product gets the job done. They have this little, very small doe foot applicator, but I actually think that the applicator is a really good size because you're not gonna over apply it. You're not gonna go outside the lines. Like you saw, I was talking to you and applying it. It was super easy. But I think that these are so nice and they're so comfortable, so affordable. And if you're like a lipstick junkie and every time a sale comes around and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to add a lipstick because it's on sale and I want to expand my collection, you can get these for like $5-ish each. And I think any lipstick that you get from Sephora, even the cheapest ones are like probably, I don't know, 18 bucks US, $23 Canadian usually, minus 20%. You could still get a couple of these for the cost of that. So why not? Expand your collection with Colourpop lipsticks, with BH lipsticks, with Drugstore. L'Oreal makes a really good glossy shine, colory shine lipsticks. Look into the Drugstore if you never have before, if you're a typical kind of Sephora lipstick girl, because I feel like there's so much affordable lipstick out there. You can get so much for the price of like one at Sephora. So overall, I hope that you found this video really helpful. It's always so much fun when a Sephora sale comes around. I know after the sale, there's gonna be 100 different like what I bought at Sephora sale, what the haul I got from Sephora. And I'm not gonna do that. I originally, like I said, I added 12 things to my cart. It was like 250 bucks. And I'm like, yeah, that's a great amount of stuff. And then when I actually thought about it, I was like, I could spend $200 and like do a full day outing for my whole family when my parents are here on vacation. Like that's what I want to do with my money. So all I'm saying to you is it's fun to buy makeup. You saw there's a whole bunch of stuff that I recommend, but you have to evaluate what's good for you. If buying makeup is not right for you right now, the makeup's still gonna be there. There's gonna be new stuff. There's gonna be all this hype over new stuff a few months from now. Buy that stuff. You don't have to buy this stuff. Just do what's right for you. Don't get caught up in the hype. If you are allowing yourself to shop the sale because it's within your budget and those are the choices that you're making, I applaud that too. Like I feel like we all have to live by our own life choices. Nobody is wrong. You're not wrong for wanting to spend money either if that is your actual life choice. Just evaluate it. And if you don't want to spend money, don't feel bad about it. That's all I'm trying to say here. So I hope that you really enjoyed this. I hope that you found it valuable. If you're new here, welcome, and I hope you will subscribe. That's it for today. I hope that you're speaking kindly to yourself every time you look in the mirror. I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.